is the tool that you can begin with to start to work through that first layer. These are called our lymphatic boosters. So first and foremost, I want to point out the feature of these silicone tips. Look how incredibly soft that is. And there's a reason why there's so many people doing lymphatic drainage with Bouchard tools and things like that. But this is the most effective way to actually start to move those lymphatic fluids. You're actually starting to kind of talk to that first layer of fascia. And you can use one of these at a time, but I absolutely love doing the double brush, particularly for legs or sensitive areas where you just brush up into the direction of the lymph nodes and desensitizing those first layers of fascia so that we can then progress to tools that penetrate deeper into the body. So this is for all my sensitive people out there, post-operative, fibromyalgia, Ehlers-Danlos, anything that makes your nerves angry and stand up. I love them. You're gonna love them. They're perfect for every single person. We've all seen it in meat, and at the end of the day, we're humans. We're basically made of meat. Okay. And if you pull open like a piece of fried chicken and you see that, you know, silky membrane, or like if you cut into a steak and you see the webbing, that's the exact same thing that you would see if you pulled up our skin. We have a layer of fascia just below, and then we have all these bands and webbing that go all the way down to the bones, and it's literally everywhere in the body.
For our viewers that don't know what fascia is the tissue that surrounds every single living cell. And we've spent the entire last 100 years focusing on our cells in the medical and the beauty companies, really, when fascia tissue is as or more important. And so that's what my tools do. They actually regenerate tissue.
Okay, what do you think that does?
Blasts me with fascia?
It gets rid of like the cellulite on my legs.
Yeah.
And like thighs and just like massage it out maybe.
Okay, so even a random dude looking at this with very little knowledge can see that these claws can go down, the claws of the fascia blaster can go down inside of someone's leg, girls, guys, whoever, and actually smooth out that myofascial tissue, which has a great impact on cellulite. I know you guys aren't thinking about that, but trust me, one day your wives will.
The blaster oil is different because it has 3 algae that serve as a thermogenic. So it has like a little bit of sort of melting technology in it. So any chance I get, I use the blaster oil.
So far we've got external heat, hydration, and then internal heat. And internal heat is anything that gets your heart rate up. So I don't care if this is a brisk walk, just moving around and stretching, anything that you can do to get your heart rate up to about 120 plus beats per minute will do the trick, okay? And the reason that you're doing all of these things is that as we age, we tend to lose muscle mass. So I am a huge fan of just getting some type of toning and conditioning. In terms of raising our vibration, that's something that we have to do every single day in every single way, in everything that we eat, everything that we consume in other ways, movies, things like that. It has to be with our whole approach to the entire world. And so, you know, you can drink tons of water, but if it doesn't actually get into the cells, then you'll still be dehydrated. And the electrolyte is the mechanism that electrically charges from the extracellular matrix into the cells. So the simple way to put that is that water is not enough. We have to have electrolytes.
So there was no self-esteem, no, you know, I didn't even really know that that was existing so much in female culture. So when we go online and I see the like craziness and the bashing and like that looks photoshopped and whatever, my social media team and I got together and we're like, we have to put an end to this.
Yeah.
Like, women have got to support women.
Fascia blasting is a slow and steady wins the race. You know, I know that it feels good, but we don't want to just come out of the gate and blast ourselves like crazy. That's when we get, you know, too much bruising. A little bruising is good. You're going to be working all the way from the elbow down to the fingertips. And the claws are perfect for actually straddling the fingers. And you want to do each and every one of them on the top. And we're going to go do it on the bottom as well. We're going to go back with larger claws and we're going to actually work into the myofascial tissue. I'm going to just lightly do the hand. Then we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So you're going to go in and just poke and wiggle. Just go ahead and elongate the back by going into spinal flexion to stretch the tissue out. And we're gonna take the Master Blaster and just start to warm everything up. We don't want to forget that the obliques come in. So if your back can tolerate the prep, then you'll want to move into the deeper structures and actually start to work into the muscles. So you just stick it right in, good firm pressure, and work along the sensitive areas. So we're going to start in the front, and you go all the way up to the jawline, and then you can go down to the clavicle. And the name of the game in neck blasting is just to basically 360 the neck. And you just want to come in and go ahead and full on blast the neck. Flex the neck and work the cervical spine. And you're just going to use the poke and wiggle wiggle technique. You just gently press and then slightly wiggle. So we're going to start in the front, and you go all the way up to the jawline, and then you can go down to the clavicle. And the name of the game in neck blasting is just to basically 360 the neck. And you just want to come in and go ahead and full on blast the neck. Flex the neck and work the cervical spine. And you're just going to use the poke and wiggle wiggle technique. You just gently press and then slightly wiggle. And we're gonna come in and actually start working into the lat. Then you can move on to the rotator cuff area. We also can move down into the serratus anterior, everybody's favorite, the upper traps, and work inside that shoulder blade and as far as you can go out. You're gonna wanna get your regular fascia blaster, and then you're just gonna repeat the process. Simply push the tip in and wiggle it just a little bit. Fascia blasting is a slow and steady wins the race. This is not buy this and use it for a month or two and smooth out your legs and be done. No, I do not even recommend that. What I recommend is 5 minutes a day for life. Really just absorb it, that fascia blasting is like drinking water, and it's something that you need to do on a regular basis for the rest of your life, but only for a couple of minutes. And my God, the benefits are far outweigh the 5 to 10 minutes that you would need to blast. Blasting is not a race. It's a slow and steady wins the lifetime race.
Guys, you're breaking up fascia. That's really good for you.
Also, we don't break up fascia. We break up fascial adhesions. Our fascia is good. We want it there. It surrounds every cell of our body. And when we keep it healthy, that's what it's really all about. And that's actually what fascia is really all about. Fascia is the most electric system of the body. It is, in essence, where the energy travels. So I see so many. So excited. I'm about to head to our factories to finalize this guy, the Blaster Band. We already have over 10,000 people, so make sure you join the wait list. I'm such a geek that I actually had papers that were written in Chinese translated into English, and I would stay up all night, totally obsessed with how I could apply this to my own health. And you know what? It worked. I kind of want to do the splits right now. So not only was I able to transform myself, but you can imagine I wanted to help others, and they needed it. And I've been really blessed because almost immediately I was working with some of the best professional athletes in the country. I built clinics, and I even went on to Hollywood and worked with some of the most famous movie stars on the planet and billionaires.
The top layer of fascia. So once you really get the tissue open, it will start to melt and lay down, and then we can go deeper with the next tool. Then
one person's toned legs are someone's over-muscular, or someone's toned legs might be too skinny for someone else. But what I will tell you, if you're strategically trying to build a butt, then the way that a cell grows, which is how we put on muscle, what you have to do is try to put as much blood into that cell as possible, and that's what bodybuilders and people call pump, okay? So the reason you want to put that blood into the cell is so that the cell is forced to grow. And I've been able to keep it, which has been great because, you know, I think a lot of people just think that they're, you know, fat or they're losing their facial definition or their face just starts to look different, when in reality it's just that we know that where fascia is tight, it can kind of pull the skin, you know, into positions that we don't want it.
Yeah. And is it similar or not?
Well, I think of it this way, that the foam roller is more for muscles, where the fascia blaster is specifically for the fascia. In fact, if you go in and actually loosen the fascia up, when you use the foam roller, it's more effective because you're not, you know, weeding through hair knots. OMG Blaster, 5-in-1 tool. You get all of this in one tool. The very first head, our medical grade silicone scrubber. We want to be as clean as possible. A single claw. Amazing for the jawline. Really, really good to just target the jowls, nasal labial folds, below the cheek line. We invented this mainly for the under eye bag or going along this brow bone here for the hooded eye or the droopy eye. The nugget tip, poke and wiggle technique, which is great for tension. The lymphatic flusher, use this for lymphatic drainage of the neck so that all these toxins can be moved out. I believe that so much crap stores in the fascia, and when people talk about, well, what happens if I stop, you know, will my cellulite come back and this and that, I'm just like, what are you talking about? We're not going to stop. This is one of the most amazing things that you could do for your body. Hashtag rant over. Let's talk about, I want to talk about triceps, okay? Fascia also surrounds and penetrates every single structure of the body, including our organs and our brains. So imagine the impact of healthier organs and brains. So we want to make sure that we don't have any part of our arm that is turned off. Okay, and just so y'all know, I don't hold my arm up when I blast. It's just I don't have anybody to film me. So, you know, you really do want to just relax your arms when you're blasting. I always put it on the table or I lay down and go at it like this. Okay? All right, so always small claw first. Why? I did something professionally that's really big, is that I am not taking my calls or doing any work until 10. And that gives me a couple of hours, you know, that 6 o'clock time frame to check my schedule, just not be thinking about it, wrap up anything. And then at 7, I go to my sauna and turn it on. I get in the hot tub, I start to stretch. Then when I get in the sauna, all the blood is rushing. That's when I've chosen to do my 15 minutes of meditation. Then I start with blasting, and then I can alternate between the cold tub and the hot tub and blasting. Now I'm doing an hour of lifting, which I do part weights and part Pilates machine. And then I go back to the spa and finish up with like stretching in the sauna and all of that. And fascia houses our blood and our nerves. So imagine the impact of healthier blood and nerves, just in general. Fascia also surrounds and penetrates every single structure of the body, including our organs and our brains. So imagine the impact of healthier organs and brains. All this literally just makes me go, wow, what more could we be doing? So for those of you who follow me, you know that I have a very long history of working with athletes in the NFL, MLB, Olympians, and also celebrities. And one major thread in terms of the way that they treat their body is that they all do some type of cold therapy. But there's also a whole bunch of other benefits. I'm learning that my lateral quad that's going under the patella tendon is extra tight, and that I need to go back and poke and wiggle some more later today. Also, don't forget, if you were experiencing extra tightness behind the knee, you can just go right in and poke and wiggle any of those tendons. You can do muscles, tendon, or fascia with the poke and wiggle technique. So we're gonna start down on the forearm. So then we're gonna move on to the bicep, and then you actually wanna prep directly inside the elbow. And then we can move on and prep the tricep. And we will be moving on to use the Mini 2. So the same areas, you're just going to go a little bit more intensely. Then we're gonna go back for all those little things that we found, and we're gonna be using the poke and wiggle wiggle technique. Very effective technique. Go ahead and prep the tissue with the Master Blaster or the Face Blaster. So just prepping everything. Switch hands, same method. You're just gonna put more pressure and a little more vigor into this one. Just don't blast breast tissue or breast implants. And you're simply going to use the poke and wiggle wiggle technique to further loosen the tissue. For the abdominal tutorial, I'm going to be working from the sternum to the pubis and around to the sides. So we're going to start, and it's nice, brisk, very light movements from the sternum down to the pubis. Roll to the side and work all the way up to the ribs and down to the hip. So you can either brush them to the side or you can brush them up and down. And if you had any areas that were sensitive, you just go right back and poke and wiggle wiggle. And these cryo packs are just my solution to make it affordable, like I always do, make it in-home use, because the reality is we don't want to have any obstacles to using products. It's hard enough to make 10 minutes a day for ourselves. We have so much coming at us, and so whenever I design my products, I really do design them to be quick, easy, affordable. They're forever products. These will last you forever. And if you've never experienced cold therapy, this is going to be something that you'll always want to. So Rebecca in Tennessee, at 44, can I change the shape of my behind? So the first thing that I want to say to everyone out there, I'm 45, I'm very open about my age. You still have the opportunity to have whatever, body that you have ever wanted. And the Fascia Blaster and the knowledge of fascia is just kind of like having nitrox for the process. Joanne and I were literally in the bathroom before just talking about we need to blast.
I'm going to expose a dirty little secret. So I found a little something, and Ashley's going to share it with us.
Well, the big secret is that cellulite isn't real. It's just the connective tissue, and it's not even fat.
What is cellulite?
So let me show you this, Mark. This would be the connective tissue, is the chicken wire. We wanted to give you like a little demo. And the marshmallows would be your skin, or the fat, if you will. And what Ashley has educated me on is the chicken wire is called fascia. And when that is tight, your fat or your skin is going to be bumpy. You can see, I'm going to show it sideways like that, Mike.
Oh my goodness.
Can you see how kind of bumpy that is?
And that's what gives the dimpling aspect of what we call cellulite.
Right, it's just the casing that's around and through the muscles, and the fat takes the shape of whatever the casing is. Well, I always say that, fascia is a system of the body. It's cells just like any other cells. So by staying hydrated and eating well, you're going to help the condition of the fascia. So easy, you guys, just to pull up and go. It's super important to get every part of this hamstring and then a little bit across the knee. The membranosus tendinosus. Run it back across the biceps femoris and then move on over towards that IT band, and then the all-important glute hammy tie-in. We're gonna go back and use the original blaster, and we're just gonna repeat the same process. I am going to be working all the way around my quadricep, and then I'm gonna go ahead and shoot in here to the IT band. I'm just moving into the anterior tibialis as well as the peroneals. And then don't be afraid to work directly on the knee. We're gonna work all the way around the knee. This is the muscle group where the original Fascia Blaster is really your best friend. So again, we're going all the way around from. But the reason I like to sit up is we've got to be able to reach a little bit lower. So just sit up with nice posture, engage your transverse abs. You don't want to be slumped over because you're actually going to need some strength and muscle to do this one. I'm going to show it with the big blaster. You would use the same technique with the little one because it's a hold in the middle technique. Okay, so I'm perched up on my hip and I'm just going to lift the legs slightly off the floor to engage. And you know what? I can actually feel it through my pants. So don't do it that way, do it with oil, but right here, you're just engaging that. You're gonna be working all the way from the elbow down to the fingertips. And the claws are perfect for actually straddling the fingers. And you wanna do each and every one of them on the top, and we're gonna go do it on the bottom as well. We're gonna go back with larger claws, and we're gonna actually work into the myofascial tissue. I'm gonna just lightly do the hand Then we're gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. So you're gonna go in and just poke and wiggle, wiggle. This side is absolutely insane, you guys, for lymphatic drainage. It works way better than gouache, way better than blades. This is what you need if you want to move those fluids around and get the toxins out of your lymphatic system. And these incredible silicone scrubbers are specially designed to get blood into the surface capillaries.